AI or AI, and it's probably one of the most talked about things right now. In the last couple of years, everyone is talking about it, students, engineers, everyone, and um, everyone is using it because it's improving their productivity, uh, optimizing things for them. But I have even though I've used AI to create this presentation, to be honest, but still I'm here with a controversial topic. Why not to use AI? So first of all, let's look at the basics. What is generative AI? It is a type of AI. Okay, and what it does, actually, I'm not able to see. Just a second. I think this will be better. I know what is on screen. Sorry. Yeah. So first of all AI models are using some data for training, right? So generative AI is a case where it is training on massive amounts of data. It is able to learn patterns, structures, recognize them, and then give answers based on that. And how we use it is that we give it a prompt, we tell this AI our situation, and then it is able to prepare some output for us, and it is able to generate content to an extent which it thinks it is original. Okay, and it can create content in terms of text like reports, summaries, essays, articles, emails. It can also create some graphic contents like images, videos, audios. I have seen certain examples on Instagram where you can give AI a prompt and it will sing a song in the voice of Sonu Nigam and something like that, or it will compose music as if it was pre-done. So all those things are possible. So generative AI is able to create content based on that. But the biggest thing which differentiates generative AI from AI is the ability to adapt to context. So AI models have been there for quite some time now. Earlier we used to have you give it a PDF or give it an image and it will recognize what this image is all about. But generative AI, as the word suggests, it is able to generate some content. So the ability to adapt to context, and by that I mean when you are giving a prompt, you can actually say that I'm an Indian, I'm a person, I'm a boy, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, based on that. So you can give defined personas while giving the prompts. You can give situations as well, So the answers will get modified based on the persona and the situation, and that is the biggest ability of generative AI compared to ordinary AI that we have been using. So first of all, let's look at why we love AI. So the first bullet point I've mentioned is that it's the buzzword. I see many resumes, many people who have just put in that experience with AI and which people may not have. The second is that because I said I used generative AI, I used ChatGPT and Perplexity both to help me prepare this presentation. And the second bullet point was 67% of IT professionals are recommending generative AI in their work culture. I have no clue how the 67% was achieved, how this number was derived at. I don't know whether it is correct or not. Okay. So I have put in a small little disclaimer over there, so please do not quote me anywhere. The second and the third and the fourth points are actually the important ones. It boosts our productivity. It helps us do repetitive tasks. It helps us generate sample code in case of our engineering work. It helps you create layouts, schedules, planning. There are many things which generative AI can help you with, and that is why it is so loved. Now, when it is so popular, it is so loved, then why not AI? And let's look at that. So first of all, I want you to see this term GIGO. I don't know how many of you know this. I'm guessing everyone does. This is the term I was introduced to in fourth grade. Our school, when our school started teaching computers, they said all computers are GIGO. GIGO. It means garbage in, garbage out. So I thought let's start with this. So I started doing some Google search to find a good image for this, and I landed on this. I just love this image because it kind of there's a statement in that top in the red line. The quality of information coming out cannot be better than the quality of information that went in. And I just love this sentence. That's why I added this image because it's like it defines the entire generative AI and all models. That whatever training data you have used, that is the quality of output can never be better than that. It will evolve based on that. It can never be better than that. So even though we are very fascinated, oh, it can create a song in Sonu Nigam's voice, but that was the training data. Whatever songs of Sonu Nigam was fed to it, based on that the output will be. And if I had fed in Arjit Singh songs, saying that it is Sonu Nigam song, the output will change, right? So that's why I think this is the most important point for this. And all the challenges and problems that you are going to face because of using generative AI is probably a derivation of this particular thing: garbage in, garbage out. So first of all, let's start with a general knowledge question. Suppose there are two people in a room, one an Indian, one a European. Just raise your hands who think the Indian would be taller. I got one. Okay. I'll modify this question. Assume that this Indian was actually from Punjab or Haryana. Now, how many of you think that the Indian would be taller? 10, 15. Now, this Indian is actually the cousin of the great Khali, the wrestler. Now, how many of you think that this Indian would be taller? Almost half of the population is there, right? So, how did your answers evolve? It kept evolving based on the input that I was providing, based on the additional information that I was providing. If you do the same, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cursor, or any other AI models, any other tool would do the same, right? So let's look at a simple example. I've added two examples over here. The first one is, suppose this is the training data and nothing else is provided. Okay, nothing else. Just remember that. So you may say that this is a silly example, but just imagine the training data says height and age of college students such that some notorious student corrupted this data. All first year students are 5'8", all second year students are 5'9", all third year students are 5'10". Okay, and then I ask a question. Manoj is in first year. What will be his height after 2 years? All of us know he will remain 5'8", right? But AI will most likely say 5'10" because it does not know anyone who is not 5'10" and in the third year. That's the limitation of this data. Similarly, if I have another question where I have created a database of all the students of BTech and BCA, only BCA and BTech, okay, these two courses are there. And the only additional information is there that every student from first year who qualifies to second year will have the entries in the second year list, second year to third year will have the entries in the third year list, and so and so. Now, if I ask, Pankaj is in BCA, will he be able to clear third year exams? I have not put in academic records, I have not put in mark sheet, anything, I am just putting this number. Will he be able to? It's all going to be probability, right? So, what do you think AI will answer? Probably it will say no. Why? Because Pankaj is in BCA, and as per this data, no student has ever reached fourth year of BCA. AI was never told that BCA and BTech are different courses. There is no concept of fourth year in BCA. No student actually reaches fourth year. They all graduate out of the college after the third year. But this information was not provided. So these are two silly examples maybe, but you have to understand that very limited amount of data gave very limited amount of results. And as if someone would have fed in more data, like there are tens of courses in the world, courses are 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, then maybe AI would have been able to assess, probably this is a 3-year course, or he did not qualify. One of these two cases would happen. But because we did not provide this information, AI will say, no, Pankaj is going to fail. Yeah, so with these, I want to start with I created a couple of slides related to the do's and don'ts. And I have tried to categorize them as students, developers, interview candidates, or individuals. So first and foremost, I would recommend that you guys are in college right now. These would actually match up to your assignments and requirements that you guys are doing right now. Do not use AI to write research papers or assignments for you. Why? One, it might be classified as cheating. It might be classified as dishonesty. It might lead to plagiarism, and we don't know, right? The second would be there are certain institutions, colleges, or like companies, or even countries which prohibit the use of AI. So if you are using this AI when it is being prohibited, then you're kind of doing some policy violations, and it can have disciplinary actions. The third one would be when your write-ups or your articles, like for psychology students, they are trying to understand your personal empathy, your personal intelligence, your interpersonal skills. So in those cases, it is better to avoid because AI is going to give you, for lack of a better word, robotic answers, right? And the last one is the most critical one, and this would be true. In my case, I added this disclaimer, right? 67%, I don't know. So if you cannot verify the authenticity of the source, right, do not use it. do not use the results if you do not know whether it is correct or not. You cannot cross-check them. So when should you use it? Use it for brainstorming. Like for example, I have to write an essay, or maybe I have to write a story. I can think of a cool title. I can debate with GPT to suggest some ideas around the good titles. You're launching some website. You can discuss. Okay, give me the name of a website which does A, B, C, D. So what should be the name of the site? So use it for brainstorming. Use it for improving your grammar, clarity, better articulation of the content that you're writing. Have the originality of your content. Use AI to give better suggestions of better sentence forming. So, for example, some people have this habit of repeating the sentences again and again, right? So you can give that input to AI and say that minimize this, like bring it down to 100 words or 200 words, and so. So for better articulation, you can use it. And you can use it for aid to critical thinking. I've written this bullet point. Let me explain that a little more. So right now, when you are, like at least in our time, when we were preparing for exams or interviews, we used to have GD sessions, for practice. So for that, you need multiple people, where you'll put in some point, the other person will put in some counterpoints and have that debate. You can actually use AI for that. Like, let's have some discussions. Because AI has the chat GPT and Perplexity, all these models have already been fed with lots of data around the world. So you actually are able to debate or have discussions with multiple people across the world and not just your roommate or your partner, right? So that's the other thing. Now, best practice, I have noted down one best practice, but I think all the best practices that across the slides would be applicable for everyone. One of them is always acknowledge AI assistance, especially when you are using in your research papers or anywhere. Document it so that you know that even if it accidentally copies someone's copyrighted or patented content, you are safe that because you are giving the due credit over there, right? The next one is as applicant. So as you graduate, you are going to go for job interviews, or like from graduation to post-graduation interviews, or some PhD interviews, right? So during live interviews, online interviews, we know people have started using GPT and other tools for cheating those interviews, for cracking those interviews. It's better to avoid that, because once you're caught, you might be blacklisted from that institution, from that company. Don't do that. Again, like this is similar to the next point is similar to the student's case. Whenever any kind of assessment is being done, which wants to assess your ethical judgment, your interpersonal skills, your EQ, not just IQ, avoid using AI output, because then your originality is being lost. Okay, AI will give the same answer to almost all the people, right? And all of you are not the same. Every single individual has his or her own identity. You are going to lose that if you use too much of AI's output directly. So when should you use it? This is my favorite, and I actually have done this. You can ask it to create interview questions for you. You can ask it to create mock test papers. When we used to do entrance exams, we used to have C++ entrance exams questions. For that, we used to have test of C skills and test of C++ skills, right, from Yashwant Kanikar. So we have done that. Now you can actually ask this, like, here's the PDF, create some sample questions out of it. It will do that for you and use it for your learning. But again, you do not know whether the answer that it is generating is going to be correct or not. For that, you will have to cross-check it with someone else. But then again, so instead of waiting for someone to create mock papers for you, you can use AI to create mock papers for you, right? Then there is creating resumes and cover letters. As I mentioned, how to make content concise and precise. Like that's the key thing when it comes to industry. We would like to look at one-page resumes, not 4 or 5 page resumes. You can glamorize your resume with many pages, but ultimately we want one-page resume. So you can use it for that, refine the content of the resume. And the last bullet point is very important for whenever you are going for job interviews. I personally used to do this. Research about the company where you are going to apply for, right? And for that, you can actually go for any kind of AI tool to provide some information, what this company does, what the technology stack is, and where are its offices, what is the general compensation so that you can negotiate with the HR. So all these things, researching about the company. Earlier we used to go for Google. Now Google search has been transformed into AI search, and that is one of the reasons even Google has replaced their search results. If you notice, the first output is actually from AI driven output, and then it says deep dive with AI. So they are also evolving. So use it for that. The next, the best practice I have noted over here is that use it as a coach and a mentor to help you prepare, and not as your replacement or as a replacement of your critical thinking. Do utilize them as best as possible to help you optimize your things, right? And reduce your dependency on other people, or save your time. As developers, now this is something very relatable to us. So I work in Adobe Systems, and I'm in the Acrobat desktop application group, and my team is involved with C++ coding. Some of it is in React based coding. So coding is the primary thing for me. I'm the development engineering manager, right? And taking code directly from AI or uploading our code to AI for debugging is very risky for us. Why? Every line of code which Adobe, Microsoft, Meta, any other company, any IT company, every single line of code is our intellectual property. Okay, we cannot afford to have that code leaked outside of our company, and we cannot afford to have any kind of any other company's code, any patented code, to be injected in our code without any licensing or legal requirements being met. Okay, so doing any of these two things would have very severe effects for the company. You might lose your job. The company might lose millions and billions of dollars. We don't know the amount of impact it will cause. Okay, so avoid that. The third is innovations. So suppose you have a brilliant idea and maybe it is patentable, maybe I should do something, maybe, and you start doing some research around that using GPT. So just remember, whatever input you are giving is also getting stored in their servers, and it will probably be used for something else. And in that case, your idea might get mixed with someone else's idea, or AI might actually from somewhere from the internet it might suggest some other idea to you which has already been patented. So which is again a problem because AI cannot innovate. As I mentioned, it is ego, right? Whatever data was given to it while training it is the data that will be used. It will have traces of that data in the output. So you cannot use it for innovations. Innovation has to come from you. The last one is kind of a summary of the above. Whenever you are not sure about the legal and the licensing or the requirement risks, do not use any such code from the internet or from any kind of AI tool. You have to be very clear what you are using. So, how can you use it better is for researching. Okay, research the APIs. For example, you need to implement a particular algorithm. You need to do some kind of a sorting logic. You can actually research that this is the kind of data. What kind of a sorting algorithm would be better? So use it for researching APIs. Use it for researching libraries. Like I want to use a Java library or a C++ library. Which library would be better? So you can use it for that. It will give you pros and cons and everything. You can use it for generating sample code. Back in our time, sample code was taken from Stack Overflow most of the time, but now it is being used, generated by ChatGPT, Cursor, all these tools. And again, you use them as sample code. Do not copy paste them. Okay, you use it to understanding. Okay, this is the flow. This is how the API is used. Because I have tried that and it gave me crashers. Okay, the application started crashing. I was creating my own application, a very simple calculator for my son. And I thought, let's use GPT. Why I don't want to work so much. So I simply used copy paste and it started crashing. And there were repercussions of that. And I spent like half a day just to debug that. So don't do that. And the last one is because industry is also evolving. They know AI is valuable. People are, getting licensed AI servers set up within their network so that their data, their intellectual property does not leak. For example, in our company, we have Cursor servers set up. So our employees are now allowed to use those servers with our code because now we know our code is not going outside our network. Okay. So if you have the company has approved some kind of a tool for you, use it. Use it for any copy paste, do anything. Use it that tool for whatever you want to because there is no intellectual property risk over there, no patent risk over there, no lawsuits case over there. Okay. So from students to interview candidates to development engineers. So we have covered that. Now let's also look at as a best practices be watchful of copyright and intellectual property terms. The next is as individuals. I added this slide for completeness sake, to be honest. And these 3 bullet points do not cover everything. There can be many such cases. So first of all, do not use for medical advice. So when AI was not there, we still used to go for on Google. I have a headache or I have this.
If you're going there, if you're going that way, duck kar lena.
Doctor would say, stop using Doctor Google. You have to come through us. Google does not know everything. The same is true for AI as well. I can say that, okay, so AI will give you paracetamol. But whether that headache was because of lack of sleep, over drinking, your eye problem, eye infection, or even a brain tumor, it will know whether it is because of low blood pressure or not, or high blood pressure, right? It will know headache implies paracetamol. Okay, so let's give this. However, new AI models, they are far more advanced. They will give you a plethora of things that probably this is the cause, this is the cause, and in the end, they will have a disclaimer. All AI output is now coming with a small little disclaimer that go cross check this output. We may be wrong, and that's the legal requirement that they have kind of striked out. The second is investment tips. Uh, so before going to the investment tips, for medical advices, I would say don't use it for medical advice. You can research it for use it for researching alternative medicines, cheaper medicines, or other companies' medicines, or the side effects. Like in our case, my parents are vegetarians and they try to avoid medicines that have egg or other traces, right? So we do some research with that. There are many websites, but AI also helps because it researches multiple websites and brings it down to a single page. For investment tips, I would say strictly avoid it. Many people have, Instagram and YouTube is full of such videos that you can use AI to make money. If it was that easy, everyone would have been doing it, and everyone would have been super rich. It's not that easy. I have actually tried using AI models to predict some stocks and all. I'll come to that in my personal experiences, but it's not that easy. Counseling is one such case. If you are using AI, ChatGPT especially, is as a individual trying to converse with it for personal, professional, financial, emotional guidance, please don't do that. AI is not a human being. It does not have emotions. Okay. Again, as I mentioned, it will have traces of the input that was provided to it. So if you are consuming their output as if it is going to provide you some empathy and some counseling or console your trauma, it's not going to do that, and it can be very dangerous. So avoid that. So best practice is use AI as your employee, as your personal assistant, and make it do things which you think will take time. Okay, and at the same time, do not trust AI blindly. Like it will whatever it is giving, it's correct. That's not going to be the case. So here are my personal experiences. So five examples I have. So one example is with interns and new campus graduates. So Adobe provides internships. The interns are supposed to work on a project, and then they are supposed to give presentations to the VP and directors. That's the process. And what I do with my team is that before going to the director, I try to do a mock drill of that presentation so that they are prepared for the questions that may come, because so that they are not nervous. So I asked a question to an intern during this mock drill, and she gave an answer, and it was incorrect. I knew it was incorrect. I asked her, "How did you come to this answer?" "No, sir, this is fine, this is correct." "But how do you know it's correct?" "Sir, it was from ChatGPT and it's correct. AI is giving that answer." It's not possible. AI is not going to give correct answers. I personally have faced it. I did some research for my parents and for some cost of religious place, and it said 700 rupees per adult, but for children it is 700 rupees. So 700 rupees per adult, but for children it is 700 rupees one side, and the next side for two sides it's 700 rupees. And then I actually had to go to the website, and it said two sides is 700, one side is 500, children are free. So this was not correct, and we were like, this is wrong. New college graduates have this problem because you guys have been exposed to a lot of AI tools very early in your before even starting your career. So people have started using it a lot, and I have seen people who blindly copy code from AI, and they were like, this is not intellectual property. This was a basic sample code. I just used it, and after a day, it caused some crashes, some runtime intermittent crashes, and they spent 2-3 days trying to understand why Acrobat's 30-year-old code is not working with a 5-line piece of code generated by AI. What is wrong with it? We had to involve senior developers. Guys, look at it, or maybe simply delete it or revert it. We are not able to make sense of it, right? So this is first example. The second is around writing promotional emails. So I'm an engineering manager. So when I have to promote someone, I have to create a write-up of their achievements and share it with my leaders for approval. If they approve, they get promoted. So this time I was feeling a little lazy. So what I did was I collected, copy pasted everything that he had achieved in the throughout the year, dumped it into a single PDF, and then asked AI, "Can you create a recommendation letter for his promotion?" And it created a wonderful letter. It had all the fancy, glamorous jargons, English words like very hardworking, very passionate, efficient, coder, fast turnaround time, and all those things were there. But the crux of the problems, the algorithm that this employee was actually able to solve, the complexities were missing. It did not mention that they worked on a new technology, or it did not mention that he created a new framework. So all these pieces were gone. So it was like someone is just all words, no. I'm missing the phrase here, but it did not have the necessary thing to get him promoted. It looked beautiful. So that was my experience with writing promotional emails. So what I did was I copy pasted those important glamorous words because I was from Hindi medium and used it to my original content. The third is around creating this presentation. Okay. So when I was invited to create this presentation, what I did was I went to ChatGPT. I typed in why and why not to use AI. I need to create a presentation for college students on why and why not to use AI in double quotes. Please give me 10 to 15 slides of presentation so that I can cover it for 15 to 20 minutes. Good enough? It created 5 bullet points for pros and 5 bullet points for cons. Then I asked it again, create a slide by slide presentation. And after 10-15 rounds of prompts and reprompts, it created a presentation. I have that sample. I can show it to you. So, but it did not have any graphics. It did not have any, speaker notes and anything. And it was not attractive. It did feel like me. Okay. I had like 10-15 slides. Every slide had 1 or 2 sentences only. Not like this. Okay. And a couple of keywords only. It was pathetic, to be honest. I don't have a better word. Now, so I asked it, I used Perplexity then, and I asked it to, can you refine it and add some speaker notes, make it elaborate. And it also asked that, would you like me to make it suitable for Gen Zs? This was a question from ChatGPT. Would you like to optimize it for generative Gen Z people? I said, okay, let's do that. Again, it did not make any change. The presentation remained as is. The final detailed presentation actually came out to be 3 slides, which was even worse. So ultimately, I took my learning from their slide. I was able to create this outline and then filled it with my content only. Now, what did I use AI for? So these background images that you're seeing, I would have the Gigo image. I did some Google search for 15-20 minutes, and then I was able to come up with that image. So I was searching for such images as well, and ultimately this is all generated by Copilot. So on every slide, I gave Copilot a prompt that create an image for a student where I can show do's and don'ts. Create an image for a developer with do's and don'ts. So if you notice, every single image is a little different. So this is student with a hat. This is an applicant with a resume. This is a developer with some code. And this is an ordinary individual. Right? So I was very happy. Okay, so this was done in 4 slides, 4 images, 4 minutes. Instead of 15 into 4 and 1 hour. So I use AI for this. Okay, so that's for creating presentations. Now creating my financial plan. As I mentioned, someone mentioned in my intro as well that I'm into financial advisory and all. So I thought, okay, I don't want to go to a professional financial advisor because they're going to charge money. Okay, so let's use GPT. So I gave it a prompt that please create a portfolio of asset allocation for me and so and so. It created an allocation which was biased towards global population, US population, and it did not meet our requirement like as Indian. So I understood, okay, I have to tell it that I'm an Indian person, so it can adapt to the context of an Indian person. Then again, it did not meet my personal risk profile, they were missing. So I spent an hour, a day to come to a asset allocation program. It created a profile for me, and when I added up all the allocation percentages, it did not come to 100. So it was supposed to divide 100 rupees into some XYZ chunks. It created that chunk, but the summation of XYZ was not coming to 100. It was coming to somewhere around 88, 89. And then where did that 10 rupees go of asset allocation, right? So that was missing. That's my experience with financial plan. The last is stock analysis. And so this is the example that I did. Recently I learned about Perplexity Finance is a separate tool which you can use for financial analysis. So I asked the question to Publicity Finance that here is a stock, here are its quarterly or annual reports of the last 10 years. Create a graph of profit growth year over year. And to my surprise slash shock, it created a flat line. In this world, there will never be a company which will have 10 years of profit growth as a flat line, which means that this company's profit is increasing by exact same percentage year over year. Exact same percentage. It is not possible. It can be 20, 21, 22, 20, 21, 20, 21, but it can never be equal, right? And because I knew about this company, it was Adobe, and I was like, this is all crap. This is not possible. So if I would have looked at that graph and I asked it to project the stock price that can go in 2 years, it was suggesting somewhere around 3 times of my investment if I do it today, based on that graph, which is not possible. In 2 years, to triple the money is not possible. I work in Adobe. I know the things that we are working on. I know the challenges we are facing. So it was all incorrect. So as I mentioned, while preparing for this, I first used GPT, and it was not happening for me. So I reached out to my college friends, colleagues, juniors, seniors, everyone, to share their experiences of where they faced that AI was causing more harm than benefit to them. Okay, so they shared some examples, and I consolidated all of them to create this. So these are the concerns from real people. First one is inaccuracy. So I already gave 2 examples, right, where the result was inaccurate. So the biggest problem with generative AI is hallucination. Okay, sorry, hallucination, right? Where AI will give some output to you, fabricated output to you, with a lot of confidence, right? As if that it's absolutely correct, but it will not have sources to where it actually took that input from. And in that case, you might have repercussions. So you cannot use such things for autonomous driving. You cannot use this for stock trading. You cannot use it for medication. So there are many such cases. So inaccurate results, like in our case, using it for coding would have other impacts. It might be some malware code which actually accidentally we are copy pasting in our product. So that's the first problem. The second problem that we are observing with the college students and interns is that the lack of deep understanding and learning, because people are not actually going through the code themselves, understanding how this code is working, how this result came, how this algorithm is working, and simply consuming the output, they are actually not able to learn and improve their learning. And this limitation is going to limit further because they will not be able to innovate. The problem solving skills needed to actually solve those problems in the industry is not going to come from AI. Okay, so imagine you hire someone to attend all your classes, to do all your homework, to do all your assignments, even give exams on your behalf. Okay, and then you have to give the job interview. Let me know if you can crack it. It's not possible, right? So this lack of deep understanding and poor learning is one concern. The third is loss of authenticity. This is my favorite because I personally feel people are losing their genuine self when using AI output in their reports and emails. So as a manager, I ask my team members to create a monthly report which we can send to leadership, to VPs and directors, right? And everyone has their individual style of writing content, right? Everyone has. So for example, I use therefore a lot, and I have a friend who uses thus, thus, thus a lot in her sentences. If you watch Shark Tank, there is a shark who uses, and for those reasons I'm out, and there is a shark who says I'm out because of these reasons. So everyone has their own style, right? But if you use GPT's output as it is, your originality is lost, and that is one of the biggest concerns. Many times when I'm reviewing email and reports by my teammates, I can straight away look at them and say that these are the lines you have copy pasted from AI, and these are the lines which you have written because your tone, your choice of words is there, right? So that's the third one. The fourth one is we should all be aware of scams and frauds, and we should be careful with our parents and kids. This is for the vulnerable people, all the elderly people who are not that tech savvy, who are not that tech aware, all the kids who do not know what they're consuming or what they're uploading. So you must have heard about deepfake videos. A lot of such videos are available. So be careful with what you're uploading on the internet. It can be misused in many ways. I personally have seen a video. So on Z Business there is a character, managing editor. His name is Anil Singhvi, right? of Z business. I have seen a fake video of Anil Singhi giving stock recommendations, and I knew it was incorrect because I'm in this field, so I could figure out this is not correct. And because I listen to him a lot, I know that because his 23 in Hindi is 23, and he says 23. That is his pronunciation. Okay, so so when I was looking at that video, it was saying that this stock price can ye share 2300 तक नहीं 2300 तक जा सकता है. Something is wrong. And when I looked at that channel, everything was fake, right? So that Instagram handle, every single video was fake, and it looked so realistic, it was scary. Anyone who trusts Anil Singhi might invest in that and may lose like their entire worth. The last is dehumanization. As I mentioned in the previous example, if you are using it for counseling, your originality is getting lost, your human touch is getting lost, you are becoming like a robot, your outputs are going to become like robots, and it is not going to provide you emotional support or empathy or EQ, anything, right? So this is the last one that can be a concern. So before preparing this slide, I also did some Google search to find news articles where AI caused alarmingly adverse impact. So I did some search. One of my cousins said that you can use Replit example. AI deleted entire database for that company, and it caused, I think, billions of dollars of losses. Then I did some search on fraud cases due to AI, and this entire list came up. Lawsuit cases due to AI, again a whole list came up, and deepfake cases with AI. So all these cases, I just did a small little Google search. You guys can try it out. I did not have the time, and I did not need to go to individual news articles. I simply took a snapshot of this result because it was dozens of such cases were there, right? I was thinking of, I have 4-5 examples which can be appealing to you guys, but actually the internet is full of such cases that AI is causing problems. So you have to be very careful with what you are consuming over there. So the golden rule is, and this is the last slide, avoid overuse of AI, use it as an AI assistant. In my notes actually I've written, use AI as an employee, use it as your assistant, use it to do works that are tedious to you, laborious to you, time consuming for you. Do not use it for giving output and then consuming it directly. For example, you have an Excel sheet, like I did this yesterday only. I had this financial statement, bank statement of 3-4 years, and I wanted to calculate average monthly balance. So the solution would have been to export it to Excel, create the summation of every month's average balance, then do the average of every month's balance, and so and so. I asked AI to do it, and it gave the result in like 1 minute. Okay, it took its sweet time, that's okay. It gave the result in 1 minute, and I was still not sure whether it is correct or not. So I cross-checked the output, and it was incorrect. So I thought, okay, next time I'll experiment with it. I'll try to export it to Excel and then feed that as an input. Maybe because of the PDF it was not able to. Maybe. So those are the experiments that I'll do. But yes, so this activity would have taken at least 1 hour for me. At least 1 hour for me, which was done by in 1 minute. However, it was not accurate. If it would have been accurate, it would have been very fruitful. So again, the last line is, use AI as your personal assistant, personal employee. Make it do things which you think are very boring, tedious, and laborious. Okay. And with that, I was told there will be a Q&A. So, any questions if you guys have? Otherwise, I'm free to go.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir. Sir, there is a question.
Recently, I was trying to get some stock analysis information and knowledge so that I can start investing. I started with some YouTube channels, and some of them started recommending AI. I searched specifically for. Hello. So I started specifically searching for how can I use AI for my stock analysis, and there were a couple of videos, and they were recommending which and AI to use, why to use it, how to use it, AI in stock analysis. So what do you say about it?
I'm doing that also. The thing is that you do not know whether it is correct or not, so you'll have to cross-check. So, for example, everyone in this world, not India, everyone in the world wants someone to give them a stock tip. just go and buy this share and you'll make millions and billions or whatever. That's now how easy it is. It's not that easy. It's not going to be easy. What you can use AI for, okay, I have these two companies, I want to understand their balance sheets, but I'm a computer science student. I don't understand accounting, right? So I can say that these are the two balance sheets, which one looks a stronger balance sheet, which has a better growth potential, and then I can do my research further around. Okay, so that is how AI can be used, and that's what I'm doing. So I feed into it like multiple companies, the reports of multiple companies, and I ask, okay, which one has a better prospect? Which of these companies are actually investing in innovation? Which of these companies are buying new factories? So those are the things, because otherwise you will have to go through the report, manually, read through every report. But then reading 10 reports of 100 pages each for all those companies is not like easy for us. It will be time taking. It will take weeks. Now those weeks of effort can be done in hours of effort, right? So those are the things where I am personally using it. So the YouTube ads that you see, if it was that easy, why are they even giving ads? They would have made like lots of money over there by themselves,
Exactly, sir.
right? So don't trust them blindly. Use it for learning.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, so quick question, sir. Like you mentioned about patent codes. So it is a very new thing for me. For example, I'm building my own startup and I'm coding the whole project by myself. But how do I make sure that the code I'm using is not the patent one from another company? So can you emphasize on that?
See, this has nothing to do with AI. Okay, this is like a standard problem which anyone would have faced. So for example, I will not be the only one who knows bubble sort. Like I would, maybe if I invented bubble sort, I would not be the only one. Maybe somewhere in the world someone else would have done the same. Right? So for those things you will need a legal team, like to do the research for you and find out if this is possible or not. But in general, if you can prove that this has not been copied from them and it is your original creation, you should be fine. Like that's how generally these things work. But if it is very obvious that it has traces of their code, variable names, for example, or file names, for example, then you might be in trouble. So if there is no way to prove, that it has been copied from somewhere, if you know that it is absolutely your own creation, you should be fine. There can still be concerns, but for that you need a legal team for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, do that. Let me know when I'm out of time.
सर आपने बोला कि लाइक प्रेजेंटेशन से लाइक एआई से प्रेजेंटेशन एप्स के लिए जैसे gamma.ai से हम एक सेकंड में लाइक 10 सेकंड में प्रेजेंटेशन बना सकते हैं और मेटा जीपीटी से हम लोग ऐप बना सकते हैं सो वुड इट बी वर्थ इट टू बी एन इंजीनियर और आप कौन सी स्किल्स पे हायर करते हैं लाइक एडोबी में कौन सी वो स्किल्स हैं except data science and AI machine learning?
Yeah, the first requirement is problem solving, I would say. मेरा लाइक मैं अपने इंटरव्यू का साथ बताता हूँ, मैं क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछता हूँ इंटरव्यू के, मैं अपना लैपटॉप सामने रख देता हूँ, उसमें एक सैम्पल कोड होता है एंड मैं बोलता हूँ डीबग करके डाल दो मेरे को, ठीक है, whatever output is there, just let me know why this output is coming and how it can be fixed. And for that you actually need to understand how C++ works. AI will not tell you how it works, how internally machine code is getting generated or what assembly language is doing. So that's how I take interviews, whether you are able to understand how things work, operate or not. Now, when you're saying that there are apps and tools and models which are able to generate apps just like that, I have tried those, a couple of those. And once you start facing some issues in those, once you start facing bugs or when you have to optimize it as per your requirements, then you start struggling because they are going to give you quite generic solutions. It will optimize stuff for you, it will make things faster for you. Absolutely agree on that. But you need to understand that code that is generated with absolute thoroughness. Only then you will be able to use it for production. You cannot ask AI to create a code and then ship it to the millions of users that you want, right? Because any kind of impact, you cannot go in the end and say that I don't know why this is, stealing data from a computer. It was generated by AI. No, you are responsible for that code. Like for example, I gave this example. We cannot copy paste AI code and put it in Acrobat's code base because if it was a malware, if it was some security goal, then I'm responsible for it. I cannot say because it is not my fault, it goes to Microsoft. No, that won't work. So use those tools. Oh, don't overuse them. Use it as an employee.
So in this AI era, we should learn coding.
Yes, you should learn. You should.
Like
You should know why this code works. You cannot assume that this is working, so it's working.
like I attended a startup company. Like it was something, and the startup founder told us that we should not learn the like coding in this era because AI can generate anything. So what would you say about that?
That's maybe his opinion. My opinion is that you don't. So okay, I learned coding very young age, and my teacher taught us coding on copy and paper. We did not have computers at that time. That was fifth and sixth class. Okay, and we used to write on paper. We used to do dry run on paper, and our teachers used to check it on paper. Okay, and then we started typing it on computer. Then we started copy pasting. Okay, for loop यहाँ से, ये यहाँ से, and we were able to do it. And then there was auto completion came in where people have started typing and sentences started getting completed. But that did not mean that you did not know coding. These are just optimizations of the code that you're writing. Okay. If someone says that you don't need to learn coding at all, I would disagree. That's my personal opinion. Maybe others may differ. But you need to understand why that code works. So, for example, I'm a manager. I don't need to learn any new language. I don't need to code. Okay. I have a team of 15 people who will do this for me. But I still need to understand what code they are writing. Correct? I write zero code. I've written zero code in the last four years. But I still need to understand what code they are writing, how they are writing, what algorithm they are using, whether it is optimum or not, whether there are concerns or whether there are bugs or not. Right? So you cannot have this black and white rule that you don't need to learn coding anymore. You need to understand what you're consuming.
So the main thing is to debug the thing.
You need to know what it is, what you are using, right? You cannot just use it as a black box. That's the thing.
Okay, I guess that should be enough for the. Thank you so
You're
much.
asking me?
No. Take more.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.